Welcome to the third installment of the 22 and 22 series, where we will rank the 22 teams returning to the regular season in Orlando. At 20th in our rankings, we have the Phoenix Suns. Let's start with the season recap. The Suns started off the season with a pretty rough start. They had a completely new coach, and their first overall pick from last season, DeAndre Ayton, was suspended 25 games for violating the NBA's substance use policy. Luckily, other players such as Aaron Baines and Ricky Rubio stepped up and proved to be important players on the Suns team. Because of this, the Suns were performing decently and they weren't the very worst team in the NBA, not as bad as the Warriors. The Suns had some solid moments throughout the season, such as when they beat the Clippers and when they had a hot streak before the All-Star break where they demolished teams such as the Rockets, although they didn't have Russell Westbrook, but it was still a solid win for the team. But in addition, the Suns also had many losing matches where they played quite badly. In total, the Suns are 26 and 39 as of now, and they are 6 whole games behind the number 8 seed Grizzlies. As for some player news, Kelly Oubre had surgery in early March for an injury, and the GM has recently stated in an interview that he has not ruled out Kelly Oubre's return to the bubble in Orlando, though it is likely that Kelly Oubre sits out the rest of the season since it is best that he recovers, but it's all in the hands of the GM and Kelly Oubre. For my season outlook, I see the Suns going 1-7 in the bubble. They have a very difficult schedule against teams such as the Lakers, the Heat, and the Thunder, to name a few, and the only team that the Suns will likely beat is the Wizards. The odds are stacked up heavily against the Suns, and I see them doing pretty badly, and it's really difficult to see them making a playoff spot, given that they have to nearly win every game in this regular season installment. Okay, let's move on to the next part of the video where we will discuss our rankings and how they compare against each other. As for my rankings, I had the Suns at number 19. I see the Suns having a decent, well, not really decent, but at least they win one game, whereas I have many other teams winning 0 games. And this is because although Kelly Oubre will likely sit out, the Suns still have some very solid players such as Devin Booker, who has proven to be a solid scorer, and many other solid passers like Ricky Rubio and a good center in Aaron Baines. Like, even though they don't have Kelly Oubre, I think that they have many key players returning, even DeAndre Ayton. So I don't see them having a complete failure. I see them being able to snag maybe 1 or 2 wins.
As referenced last video, I have the Suns at 21. So I really don't know how good of a team this is. I've looked at them a bit. Their team is very weirdly structured. They have had a lot of injuries, a lot of really, really young players. If I'm not wrong, they're one of the youngest teams in the league. Devin Booker has had no experience like this. DeAndre Ayton is a second-year player who's played hardly 100 games in his career. And you have other players like Ricky Rubio, who's a defensive liability, and rookies and sophomore players like Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. I don't think they stand up to the test of this really well. They definitely will crumble under the pressure, and I feel they're just not ready. They're just a few years away. Their coaching situation is terrible, unlike the Spurs, which we mentioned last video. I don't have them doing too well.
All right, so I'm in the middle of you two. I have them at 20. And this is because while I agree with Rohan in that I think the Suns are a better team than the Spurs, and that I think Kelly Oubre potentially being out isn't as detrimental to the Suns as LaMarcus Aldridge being out is to the Spurs, as they still have some amazing players such as not amazing, but great players such as DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker, as well as some decent depth with Ricky Rubio, Dario Saric, and Mikal Bridges. I don't think the Spurs have the same depth that the Suns do, so I think that they'll perform better than the Spurs. However, I can't really put them any higher than this because just the odds that they get a playoff spot, even though they're better than the Spurs, are just so low. So that's why I have them at 20.
That about wraps it up for this video. Let's just stay tuned for our next video, which is going to come out tomorrow, which is going to discuss the 19th ranking. That about wraps it up for this video. please stay tuned for our video tomorrow where we'll be discussing the team that we have ranked at number 19. So just signing off. See you.